Hey Switch fans, welcome back to SwitchTop. Today, we're diving into the top 20 simulation games on Nintendo Switch. Whether you're into farming, building relationships, or managing your own cozy world, these games will keep you hooked for hours. Let's jump right in. Dispatch delivers a smart blend of narrative-driven storytelling and light simulation mechanics that makes it stand out among simulation-style games on the platform. You play as Robert Robertson III, a former superhero forced off the front lines and reassigned as a dispatcher for a superhero response network. The core gameplay revolves around managing incoming emergency calls and assigning the right heroes to each situation, carefully considering their abilities, personalities, and current condition. Choosing poorly can affect mission outcomes and strain team relationships, while smart decisions build trust and unlock deeper interactions. Between dispatch decisions, the game mixes in dialogue choices, character management, and occasional hands-on segments, like hacking-style minigames, that add variety without breaking the flow. The story is presented like an episodic animated series, focusing heavily on character development, workplace tension, humor, and themes of redemption and responsibility. Rather than being about constant action, Dispatch shines through its writing, voice acting, and the way your decisions subtly shape how the team evolves over time.
I don't have a car.
That's gonna be a weird insurance claim.
The way things are going, I'd cut the whole damn team.
All of you in this room have set this program ablaze with your bullshit.
Wylde Flowers starts as your typical farming sim when you arrive at your grandma's farm on a remote island. But then it reveals its secret. You're actually learning witchcraft and joining a coven of witches living in the community. The farming mechanics are solid, with seasonal crops, animal care, and crafting systems. But the magic system is where things get interesting. You're gathering ingredients for spells and potions that actually help your farming or unlock new story events. The characters in town are genuinely well written, with their own schedules, relationships, and problems you can help solve. I found myself actually caring about the romance options because the dialogue feels natural and the relationships develop gradually. The main story deals with keeping magic secret, while corporate developers threaten the island's way of life. Time moves at a comfortable pace, so you never feel rushed, and the game autosaves constantly, which is perfect for handheld play. The art style is colorful and charming without being overly cutesy, and the voice acting for every character adds so much personality. Garden life is pure relaxation, focused entirely on creating and maintaining beautiful gardens without any farming or survival mechanics to worry about. You start with an empty plot and gradually transform it into whatever garden style you want: Japanese Zen gardens, English cottage gardens, modern minimalist spaces, or chaotic flower explosions. The planting system is simple, but detailed enough to feel satisfying. You're preparing soil, planting seeds, watering, weeding, and watching everything grow in real time. What I appreciated most is how the game teaches you actual gardening concepts, like companion planting and seasonal care, without feeling like a textbook. There's no story pushing you forward, just a series of garden projects and challenges, if you want structure. Or you can ignore everything and garden freely. The weather system and day-night cycle affect your plants realistically. You unlock new plants, decorations, and tools as you level up your gardening skills. The controls are intuitive with the Joy-Cons, and the game looks gorgeous in handheld mode. It's the perfect game to wind down with after a stressful day.
All the dead plants. Remember, in gardening, patience is key.
Hello Kitty Island Adventure surprised me with how much depth it packs into its cute exterior. This is basically a full-featured adventure game that happens to star Sanrio characters. You're exploring a massive island filled with different biomes, each with unique resources, puzzles, and secrets to discover. The crafting system is extensive, with furniture, clothing, tools, and decorations you can make from gathered materials. You're befriending classic Sanrio characters by completing quests and giving them gifts, and each character has their own storyline and unlockable abilities that help you access new areas. There's genuine exploration here, with caves to delve into, mountains to climb, and underwater sections to swim through. The building system lets you design multiple houses and arrange them however you want across the island. What kept me playing was the constant sense of progression. There's always a new area to unlock, a new character ability to gain, or a new recipe to discover. The game runs smoothly and looks vibrant, whether docked or handheld. It respects the Sanrio IP while being a legitimately good game. Doraemon Story of Seasons combines the classic farming gameplay of Story of Seasons with the beloved characters from the Doraemon anime series. You play as a young boy who gets transported to a fantasy world with Doraemon and friends, and you have to farm and build relationships while finding a way home. The farming mechanics are traditional but polished, tilling soil, planting crops, raising animals, and selling produce to upgrade your farm. What makes this different is how Doraemon's gadgets from the future integrate into farming life. You can use them to speed up crop growth, automate certain tasks, or access hard-to-reach areas. The town is filled with interesting characters beyond just the Doraemon cast, and the relationship system encourages you to participate in seasonal festivals and give gifts. The art style is absolutely beautiful, with a storybook watercolor aesthetic that makes every scene look like a painting. The story has genuine heart as you help townsfolk with their problems while dealing with your own situation. Seasons change the available crops and fish, giving rhythm to your farming year. Fae Farm takes the farming sim formula and adds magical creatures, dungeon exploration, and multiplayer co-op for up to 4 players. You arrive in a realm filled with fairies and magic, where you're farming, but also venturing into dungeons to gather rare resources and fight creatures. The combat is simple but functional. You have basic attacks and dodge rolls, nothing too complicated. What hooked me was how the dungeons and farming feed into each other. You need dungeon materials to craft better farming tools, and you need farming products to make healing items for deeper dungeon runs. The potion crafting system is surprisingly deep, with ingredients affecting multiple properties. You can romance any character, regardless of your own character's gender, which is refreshing. The multiplayer works seamlessly. Friends can drop in, help with your farm or dungeons, and drop out without disrupting your progress. The magic system lets you unlock spells that help both in farming and exploration. The world has multiple biomes to discover, each with distinct crops, creatures, and resources. Building your homestead is flexible, with lots of customization options for both interior and exterior spaces. Rune Factory 3 Special is the enhanced Switch version of the DS Classic that perfects the series' blend of farming, dungeon crawling, and relationship building. You play as a boy named Micah, who can transform into a monster called a Woolly, and you're trying to bridge the gap between the human town and the monster settlement. The dual life system is the core hook. You're farming and socializing in town during the day, then exploring dungeons and fighting monsters at night. The real-time combat is action RPG style, with swords, magic, and special moves that feel snappy and responsive. You can befriend monsters in dungeons and bring them back to help on your farm or fight alongside you. The relationship system is extensive, with 12 marriage candidates, each with detailed storylines that unlock gradually. What I love is how everything interconnects. Better crops help you craft better weapons, dungeon materials improve your farm tools, and leveling your farming skills actually makes you stronger in combat. The game respects your time with no day limits and a forgiving energy system that encourages experimentation.
Cultivate crops and care for monsters, among other relaxing activities. You can also transform into a monster? Your abilities in battle and conversations with the locals will vary depending on your form. Your choices will also cause different events to occur.
Disney Dreamlight Valley has you restoring a once magical valley that's been corrupted by a mysterious force called the Forgetting. Classic Disney and Pixar characters have lost their memories, and you're helping them remember while rebuilding the valley into a thriving community. The gameplay loop combines farming, mining, fishing, cooking, and crafting with character quests that feel true to each Disney property. Mickey Mouse helps with gardening, Remy from Ratatouille runs a restaurant you unlock, and characters like Elsa, Moana, and Wally all have substantial storylines. The decorating system is incredibly robust. You can place furniture and decorations anywhere in the valley, terraform the land, and customize your avatar with Disney-themed clothing. What impressed me most is how the game keeps adding new content with regular free updates that bring new characters and storylines. The main story has genuine emotional moments as you uncover what caused the forgetting. Time moves in real time, but you can adjust the pace, and the game works great in short sessions or long play sessions. Rune Factory 5 brings the series' signature mix of farming and fantasy action to full 3D on the Switch. You play as an amnesiac who joins a peacekeeping organization called Seed while farming and protecting the town from monsters. The combat feels much more dynamic than previous entries, with lock-on targeting, aerial combos, and weapon crafting that actually changes how weapons handle. You're exploring multiple dungeons with different environmental themes and boss monsters, each tied to the main story about mysterious earthquakes threatening the region. The farming is deep with seasonal crops, giant vegetables if you care for them properly, and barn animals that produce materials you need for crafting. The relationship system includes both marriage candidates and regular townspeople, all with their own schedules and storylines. You can tame monsters to help on your farm or accompany you in dungeons as party members. The festival system brings the town together for seasonal events. What kept me engaged was how the story actually progresses with real stakes and character development, rather than just being a backdrop for farming.
Easy does it. Easy does it. There we go. There you go. There you go. There we go. There you go. There you go. There you go.
Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town puts you in charge of a completely wild, overgrown plot of land that you slowly transform into a thriving farm and eventually help restore an entire abandoned town. The scope is massive. You start with basically nothing, and by the end, you have multiple fields, barns, coops, makers producing goods, and a bustling town with shops and residents. The core farming loop is incredibly satisfying, with smooth controls for everything from planting to harvesting. You're constantly clearing land, gathering resources, and crafting new facilities to expand your operation. The maker system lets you process crops and animal products into more valuable goods, creating satisfying production chains. There are multiple love interests with detailed heart events that reveal their backstories and personalities. The town restoration gives you long-term goals beyond just farming. You're rebuilding shops and facilities, which attract new residents and unlock new gameplay options. Seasonal changes affect everything, from available crops, to fish, to special events. The game received major updates post-launch that fixed performance issues and added features, making the current version much better than at release. Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life is a remake of the GameCube classic that spans your entire farming life, from young adult to old age. You inherit a farm in Forget-Me-Not Valley and watch your character literally grow old over the game's chapters, which is something most farming sims don't do. The farming itself is streamlined compared to other entries. You're managing crops, hybrid breeding to create new plant varieties, and raising animals that actually have genetic traits passed down to offspring. What got me invested was how your choices early on affect your later years. The kid you raise grows up based on what you expose them to, choosing their own career path. Relationships evolve naturally over time, and characters age alongside you, which creates genuine emotional attachment. The valley itself is small, but packed with personality through its quirky residents. You can play as male or female and romance anyone, regardless of gender. The pacing is deliberately slow and contemplative, matching the game's theme about life's journey, rather than rushing to accomplish everything. Time flows faster than other Story of Seasons games, so you see the results of your efforts more quickly. My Time at Portia drops you into a post-apocalyptic world that's rebuilt itself into a cheerful frontier town where you inherit your father's workshop. You're crafting machines, furniture, and infrastructure for the town using a deep crafting system that requires gathering, mining, and processing dozens of materials. The gameplay loop has you taking commissions from the town's commerce guild, competing against other builders to complete projects that expand Portia. What hooked me was the sheer variety. One day you're crafting bridge parts, the next you're exploring abandoned ruins filled with machines you can scan for blueprints. Then you're dating and giving gifts to townsfolk. Combat exists, but it's basic hack and slash for when you venture into dungeons. The relationship system is extensive, with nearly every character being romanceable and having detailed storylines. Social activities like group dinners and festivals make the town feel alive. The main story involves uncovering pre-apocalypse technology and dealing with a neighboring militant nation. Time management matters since you have limited stamina each day, forcing you to prioritize between crafting, gathering, socializing, or exploring. Friends of Mineral Town is a loving remake of the Game Boy Advance classic that modernized everything while keeping what made the original special. You're reviving your grandfather's farm in a small mountain town, and the game nails the core farming loop with satisfying crop cycles, animal care, and product processing. The town is compact, but every resident has personality and depth through hard events that unlock as you build friendships. Mining is addictive, with procedurally generated floors where you're searching for rare ores and gems while managing your stamina and tool durability. What I appreciate is how the remake adds quality of life features like same-sex marriage and easier inventory management without losing the original's challenging resource management. You're constantly balancing your time between farming, mining, fishing, foraging, and socializing. The Harvest Goddess and Kappa have hidden requirements to unlock that give you long-term goals beyond just farming. Seasonal festivals are genuinely fun minigames rather than just cutscenes. The art style is colorful and expressive, making the transition to 3D feel natural. Rune Factory 4 Special is the definitive version of what many consider the series' peak, combining farming simulation with a legitimate action RPG storyline. You play as a prince or princess who literally falls from the sky with amnesia and ends up managing a castle town while uncovering a conspiracy threatening the kingdom. The combat is fast-paced, with multiple weapon types, magic spells, and the ability to bring monster companions into battle. You're growing crops that can boost your stats or be used as crafting ingredients for better equipment. The taming system lets you befriend monsters who then help on your farm or fight alongside you. What makes this special is how everything interconnects. Farming levels increase your HP. Forging makes your attack stronger. Cooking boosts multiple stats. The dating system has 12 candidates with extensive storylines. And you can continue playing after marriage with a full arc about having kids. The main story is surprisingly deep, with multiple arcs and a post-game dungeon gauntlet that provides serious challenge. Crafting and upgrading equipment has genuine depth with hundreds of recipes. Guardians of Azuma takes Rune Factory to feudal Japan-inspired Azuma, where you're protecting the land from malevolent spirits called malefactors. You play as an earthmate with the power to purify corrupted areas and restore balance to the region. The farming incorporates Japanese crops like rice paddies that require different care than traditional fields, adding new mechanical depth. Combat feels refined, with faster movement, better hit detection, and flashier special moves compared to previous entries. You're exploring themed dungeons representing different seasons, each with environmental puzzles and challenging boss fights. The taming system returns, but with yokai-inspired creatures that have unique abilities. What impressed me was the seamless integration of the Japanese setting into every aspect. festivals, architecture, character designs, and even the types of items you craft. The relationship system includes both human characters and spirit companions with their own quest lines. The main story deals with protecting sacred seals while uncovering why the malefactors appeared. Co-op multiplayer lets friends join your farming and dungeon crawling, which is a series first. Harvestella combines farming simulation with a legitimate action JRPG in a world suffering from quietus, a season of death that occurs between the 4 normal seasons. You're farming to survive while exploring dungeons and unraveling why quietus is getting longer and threatening all life. The combat is class-based, with multiple jobs like fighter, mage, and shadow walker that you can switch between mid-battle, each with unique abilities and combo potential. Dungeons are lengthy, with environmental puzzles and tough boss encounters that require strategy, not just button mashing. The farming is surprisingly deep, with seasonal crops, animal care, and cooking that provides essential buffs for dungeon crawling. What got me was the darker tone compared to typical farming sims. The world is literally dying, and you're racing against time to find a solution. Party members have compelling backstories, and the main narrative tackles heavy themes about fate and sacrifice. You're managing your daily stamina between farming, crafting, and dungeon exploration, creating meaningful choices about time allocation. Animal Crossing New Horizons became a cultural phenomenon. For good reason. It gave us a peaceful escape where you're building an island paradise from scratch, at your own pace. You start with a tent and basic tools, gradually unlocking the ability to terraform, place furniture outdoors, and customize nearly every aspect of your island. The core loop is gathering resources, crafting items, catching bugs and fish, and selling them to upgrade your home and fund island projects. What makes this work is the real-time clock. The game follows your actual time and date, with seasons, events, and villager activities changing throughout the year. Villagers have distinct personalities, and you genuinely grow attached to your island residents through daily conversations and interactions. The crafting system was new to the series and adds a satisfying progression as you unlock better tools and furniture recipes. Multiplayer lets friends visit your island, or you can visit theirs, trading items and inspiration. The game's post-launch support added swimming, farming, cooking, and new seasonal events that kept players engaged for years. Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar on Nintendo Switch delivers a cozy but surprisingly strategic take on the farming simulation formula, built around the idea of restoring a forgotten market town. You settle into Zephyr Town, where daily life revolves around growing crops, raising animals, fishing, foraging, and crafting, all while managing your farm at a relaxed but steady pace. What truly sets the game apart is its Bazaar system, which replaces the usual shipping bin with a weekly market where you personally sell your goods. Preparing for Bazaar Day becomes the core loop, deciding what to produce during the week, upgrading your stall, attracting customers, and using windmills to process raw materials into more valuable products. Success at the Bazaar directly fuels the town's growth, unlocking new shops, villagers, and opportunities. The story is gentle and community-focused, centered on breathing life back into Zephyr Town rather than following a strict narrative path. Building friendships, forming relationships, and watching the town evolve based on your efforts give the experience a strong sense of progression.
There! There!
Stardew Valley is the game that revitalized the farming sim genre, created by one person who wanted to recapture the magic of classic Harvest Moon. You inherit your grandfather's overgrown farm and escape corporate life to build something meaningful in Pelican Town. The farming is incredibly satisfying, with crops, animals, artisan goods, and machinery that automates production as you expand. What sets this apart is the sheer amount of content. There's farming, fishing, mining, combat, relationship building, and community restoration through bundles that unlock new areas. The mine is 120 floors deep, with monsters, resources, and genuine challenge that provides a nice break from farming. Every villager has detailed storylines that reveal darkness beneath the town's cheerful surface. Alcoholism, PTSD, corporate greed, and failed dreams are real themes. You can romance 12 candidates with heartfelt cutscenes that feel earned. The Community Center restoration gives you long-term goals that meaningfully change the town. Combat in the Mines and Skull Cavern provides action RPG challenge. Post-game content includes Ginger Island, an entire new area with tropical crops, puzzles, and more. Relationship depth. Fantasy Life is The Girl Who Steals Time is the long-awaited follow-up that expands the original's life class system into a full-blown action RPG adventure. You create your character and choose from multiple life classes like Paladin, Wizard, Blacksmith, Carpenter, Angler, and more, each with unique abilities and gameplay styles. The genius is you can switch between lives anytime, and they all level independently, encouraging you to try everything. Combat lives let you explore dungeons and fight monsters with real-time action combat that's surprisingly deep. Crafting lives, like Blacksmith and Carpenter, let you create equipment and furniture with a timing-based minigame that rewards skill. Gathering lives, like Miner and Woodcutter, provide resources everyone needs. The story involves a mysterious girl who can manipulate time, and a threat to the world that requires heroes from all walks of life. What hooked me was how everything interconnects. The sword you craft as a blacksmith makes you stronger as a paladin. The fish you catch as an angler can be cooked to boost your magic as a wizard. Multiplayer lets you team up with friends, combining different lives for strategic advantages. And there you have it, the top 20 simulation games on Nintendo Switch. From emergency dispatching to magical farming and Disney adventures, there's a sim for every type of player. Which one are you going to try first? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to SwitchTop for more Nintendo Switch content. Until next time.